CCTV's Primetime News. My name is Irivan Salako. To begin with the headlines. Abuja courts dismisses the suits by Nnamdi Kanu seeking $1 billion damages for alleged rights violation. Los Angeles Nigerian Air Force says its plane crashing on Monday morning and not its helicopter. Authorities in Russia's Siberian and Far East Republic declare state of emergency due to civil wildfire raging across the regions. Details of news are not coming your way shortly. Please wait for us.
Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the Commission has no constitutional power to conduct local council election except in the Federal Capital Territory. We have details in this report.
Professor Mahmood Yakubu, Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), says the Commission has no constitutional power to conduct local council elections except in the Federal Capital Territory. Yakubu said this on the sidelines of a two-day induction retreat for INEC resident electoral commissioners on Monday in Lagos. Reacting to the agitation seeking constitutional backing for INEC to be saddled with the responsibility of conducting local council elections, Yakubu described it as a constitutional matter. According to Yakubu, unless necessary constitutional amendments are made, the Commission will only continue to organize national and state elections. He said that the same section of the Constitution that establishes INEC also gave power to the State Independent Electoral Commission, and we cannot take over their duties, he said. It is good for people to engage in advocacy for INEC to take charge of the whole elections, but the Constitution has to be amended for that to happen. For now, INEC can only conduct the local government elections in the Federal Capital Territory with 6 area council chairmen and 62 councillors. Some notable Nigerians are canvassing for the dissolution of the SIEC in the ongoing constitutional amendment to pave way for INEC to take charge of local government elections. The proponents believe that state governors will hijack local councils' allocation due to irregularities in the conduct of the local government polls.
Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu debunked reports on some social media platform that an explosion occurred at Zungeru Power on Monday. We have details in this report.
Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has refuted reports on some social media platforms that an explosion occurred at Zungeru Power on Monday. According to the minister, the Zungeru power plant is on the grid and the plant is running at optimum capacity. Correspondent Kuluju reports that the Special Advisor Strategic Communication and Media Relations to the Minister Bolaji Tunji, in a statement in Abuja, quoted the minister saying that the report of an explosion is a figment of the imagination of the purveyors of such information. The minister disclosed that he has been in touch with the managing director of Mainstream Energy and assured that nothing of such took place in Zungeru. He maintained that the plant is working and it continues to supply to the grid, adding that he has video evidence from Zungeru that nothing like that occurred today and that whoever is concerned should go there to find out. The minister described the report as rather unfortunate that people would sit down somewhere and cook up sort of story saying people should desist from creating unnecessary panic. Adelabu assured Nigerians of adequate supply of energy, noting that Nigerians have witnessed the worst in the sector, just as he promised incremental supply of power.
And now to other stories. The Universal Basic Education has harped on the need for effective school management for rapid development of the education sector. The Executive Secretary of UBEC, Dr. Hamid Boboyi, made the appeal in Abuja while meeting with coordinators for effective school program. Correspondent Kuluju completes the story.
The Executive Secretary of UBEC, Dr. Hamid Boboyi, emphasized the crucial role of head teachers in the success of effective schools program. He stressed that head teachers, as main implementers and custodians of curricula and administrative authority, must transform ESP ideals into functional daily activities. Boboyi said the program aims to ensure minimum standards in education program and has commenced in 111 schools across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, adding that UBEC has provided instructional materials, tablets and ICT training to all the schools.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the success of the effective schools program depends on the concerted efforts of all stakeholders, especially the head teachers. Being the main implementers of this initiative and as the custodian of the curricula and administrative authority at the school level, you are required and expected to transform the effective school program ideas into functional day-to-day activities within the school environment.
He urged participants to embrace the ESP's key features and adopt improved methods to lead and direct other teachers toward the success of the ESP in their various institutions.
I therefore implore you to make the best use of this opportunity in familiarizing yourselves with the key features of the effective program and reviewing the commitment to adopting improved methods in leading and providing direction to other teachers as we work towards the success of the ESP in your various institutions.
This is part of the reasons UBEC exists, and in line with its mandate, UBEC has been engaging with stakeholders so that its activities are implemented in a manner that is inclusive of the opinion of every other stakeholder that is important for basic education.
The meeting was attended by education coordinators and other stakeholders in the sector. From Abuja, Kunle Ujo, Galaxy TV.
Now to judicial matters. 12 out of 25 students of Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo, brought before an Iyaganku Chief Magistrate Court, Ibadan, for alleged murder were on Monday discharged. Reports has it that the 25 students arraigned on June 5 were charged with conspiracy, murder and negligence. The Chief Magistrate, Olabisi Ogunkanmi, had ordered the students to be remanded in a correctional facility in Ibadan, pending the outcome of legal advice. Ogunkanmi, while discharging them, held that the legal advice was out, which indicated that the 12 students should not be charged with any offence, as there was no evidence linking any of them with the offences alleged to have been committed. One of the 25 defendants, who is a security guard at the school, Femi Oladoye, earlier charged with negligence of duty, was also granted bail in the sum of 250,000 naira with 2 shorties in like sum. Ogunkanmi thereafter adjourned the case till July 8 for mention. Earlier, the prosecutor, CSP Funke Fawole, who had told the court that the defendants committed the offences on May 24 at about 9 p.m. at the aforementioned university. Fawole said that the defendants unlawfully caused the death of 122-year-old Jeffrey Akro, a student of the university, by beating him with planks and electrical wire. She said that Oladoye, as a security guard, however, failed to prevent the aggrieved students from beating Akro to death. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by the detained leader of separatist group Indigenous People of Biafra (IPOB) Nnamdi Kanu, seeking 1 billion naira damages for alleged rights violation. We have details in this report.
A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by the detained leader of the separatist group, the Indigenous People of Biafra IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, seeking 1 billion naira damages for alleged rights violation. Kanu had in the suit claimed that the Department of State Services DSS and its Director General violated his right to fair hearing by allegedly preventing his lawyer from having unhindered interactions with him where he's being detained in preparation of his defense in his criminal trial. In a judgment on Monday, Justice James Omotosho held that Kanu failed to provide credible evidence to sustain his claims that his interaction with his lawyer were interfaced with. The court added that Kanu also failed to prove that he was denied unhindered access to his lawyers and that DSS officials eavesdropped on his conversations with his lawyers, which constituted a breach of his right to fair hearing.
You're still on to Primetime News and Galaxy Television. Coming up next. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC set a disciplinary panel to investigate 2 operatives accused of assaulting a woman. Details of that and more coming your way after the break. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now for more update and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0218 6666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, says it has transferred regulatory oversight of the electricity market in the Imo State to the State Electricity Regulatory Commission, ISERC. The Commission said this in a statement posted on its website in Abuja on Monday. The Commission said that the transfer was in compliance with the amended Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electricity Act 2023 as amended. It quoted the NERC as saying that it has issued an order to transfer regulatory oversight of the electricity market in Imo from the Commission. The Commission said the Electricity Act 2023, it retains the role as a central regulator with oversight on interstate, international generation, transmission, supply, trading, and system operations. The challenges of accessing affordable housing in Nigeria would soon become a theme of the past, as the Executive Director, Housing Finance and Accounts of the Federal Housing Authority, Matthias Buan, has assured Nigerians of affordable shelters between August 2024 and September 2025. The Executive Director of Finance stated that President Bola Tinubu has approved huge sums of money to commence the project across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Buan, who stated this at a ceremony in Edkesti at Dauda in Guma local government area of Benue State, to appreciate God for the life of Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, says a financial model that would finance the project without any problems have been worked out, as the managing director of FHA and others are working tirelessly to achieve the set goals.
The president has the country at heart. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria for the president to approve huge amount of money for the infrastructure of shelter or housing. We are working tirelessly every day to make sure that between August to September, houses all over the Federation.
On the crisis rocking the ruling party in Benue, they say the SGF does not have any problem with the governor, but that the secretary to government of the federation remains the leader, and it is expedient for the overall interest of the party and the state.
The SGF, Senator George Akume, is an institution in Benue State. In Benue, we have no challenge. Senator George Akume is the leader of Benue. All of us, including the state governor.
For us as a political party, we cannot thank the man Akume enough. Akume is an institution. For us, we will keep thanking him because something that has become an institution cannot be deleted. That people pass through to become whatever they are today.
Now to other stories. The Nigerian Air Force says its unmanned aerial vehicle UAV, popularly known as drone, crashed in Kaduna on Monday morning and not as a helicopter, as earlier reported. The Director, Public Relations and Information, NAF, AVM Edward Gapquet, made this known in a statement on Monday in Abuja. Gapquet said that preliminary investigation had since commenced to ascertain what might have caused the mishap. He assured Nigerians that minor setback would not in any way impinge on all ongoing operations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, sets up the disciplinary panel to investigate two operatives accused of assaulting a woman during a raid on the hotel in Lagos on Thursday. The report.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has set up a disciplinary panel to investigate two operatives accused of assaulting a woman during a raid in a hotel in Lagos on Thursday. Its spokesman, Dele Oyewale, who said this in a statement on Monday in Abuja, added that the errant officers were to appear before the panel on Monday. Oyewale said that the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, set up the disciplinary team to look into the case of the two errant officers of the commission who allegedly assaulted a female staff of a hotel in Ojo, Lagos. The officers were cited in a viral video assaulted the staff of the hotel in an early morning sting operation on Thursday. They are billed to appear before the team on Monday, 1st July, at the corporate headquarters of the commission, Abuja. According to him, Olukoyede stressed that no stone will be left unturned in getting the officers to account for their unprofessional conduct.
The mandate of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is to investigate and prosecute all cases of economic and financial crimes. The inability of the Commission to prosecute and convict high-profile criminal financial crimes offenders since inception and the brute conduct of the officials is worrisome, and Nigerians feel there's need for reorganization of the Commission. Galaxy News correspondent Labi Joseph has more in this report.
By Section 7, Cap 2 of the Establishment Act 2004, the FCC is charged with the responsibility of enforcing the provisions of laws relating to economic and financial crimes, including Money Laundering Act 2004 and 2011 as amended, the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act 2006. This move is strictly to wage war against money laundering and other financial crimes in the country.
EFCC is that the rationale behind its establishment cannot be faulted. It was most desired. And you know, it's one of those sections of the Constitution that is that were built under what we call fundamental objectives.
EFCC was established by former President Obasanjo upon his election as the President of Nigeria following Nigeria's return to democracy after nearly 17 unbroken years of military dictatorship in Nigeria. And the establishment of EFCC was a necessary move to address issues of corruption, massive corruption.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, ongoing crackdown on public spaces across Nigeria and the use of brute force on people who, according to Nigeria laws, are presumed innocent until proven otherwise by competent law court, has sparked widespread outrage and anger.
And Nigeria's criminal justice system is such that accused persons or suspects are deemed innocent until they are found, they are given the opportunity to appear in court to face trial, fair trial. It is the court that determine, if a suspect is guilty of an offense. But the way our operatives, law enforcement operatives, particularly EFCC, conduct, they operate as though the suspects are already guilty.
When you look at law enforcement in Nigeria generally, it doesn't appear that we understand that most of these laws can be enforced without brute use of force. To an average person who is enlisted in the police, the moment he puts on that uniform, he believes that he has been trained to be bitter against the citizen, the public. The man who put on the red EFCC thing, just ask me. The moment he's not putting on that, he becomes like any other person. He reasons properly, he reasons very well.
For EFCC to operate effectively and deliver on its mandatory obligations, there's need for reorientation of its personnel and the use of modern technology for investigation that will take away undue harassment of citizens.
Be a change in orientation. Because if we monitor them, it doesn't matter. This is Africa, we could be too daring. This is Nigeria, we can be too daring. A man believes that except he's caught by the law, whatever he's doing is in order. And the moment they are caught now, that is when they will now start looking like gentle people.
One way to do that is to ensure, one way to monitor them and ensure conformity with responsible, law enforcement methods is to ensure that those who go outside the law to enforce the law must be brought to account. That way, they will know that it is not safe to act irresponsibly.
And still on security, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command's anti-kidnapping unit rescued 2 female victims, Matthew Jadi, 15, and Evelyn Chinaza, 12, who were kidnapped by gunmen in Gutu Village, Buari, on June 30, 2024. We have details in this report.
The Federal Capital Territory Police Command's anti-kidnapping unit has rescued 2 female victims, Matt Ojadi, 15, and Evelyn Chinaza, 12, who were kidnapped by gunmen in Guto Village, Buari, on the 30th of June 2024. This was revealed in a statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade. Ade disclosed that the police, in collaboration with DSS officials, tracked the kidnappers to Gauraka Forest, Niger State, and engaged them in a fierce gun battle, forcing the criminals to flee with injuries. The victims were rescued unharmed and have since been reunited with their families. According to the public relations officer of the command, at about 1:30 p.m. where 2 female victims, Matt Ojadi, 15 years old, and Evelyn Chinaza, 12 years old, were kidnapped and forcefully taken to an unknown location. The operatives of the FCT Police Command from the anti-kidnapping unit swiftly mobilized to the scene. It added that, displaying remarkable bravery, the police and synergy with DSS officials trailed and advanced on the assailant, tactically ambushing them at Gauraka Forest, Niger State bordering FCT. Igwe also urged residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to the police emergency lines.
The chairman of the Lagos State Task Force, CSP, Shola Akirile, has addressed officers, men and paramilitary personnel of the agency, urging them to shun corruption and sharp practices, which could be harmful not just to them, but to the society at large. He made his address at the headquarters of the agency, the Safety Arena, Bolade Oshodi, where he was received by all and sundry in a rousing welcome ceremony organized by members of staff of the agency to commemorate his recent appointment as a chairman of Lagos State Task Force. Furthermore, the chairman addressed paramilitary officers attached to the agency, educating them on the need to carry out their duty with dignity and empathy as members of the public are a bit uneasy due to economic situation in the country. He charged them to shun any form of illegality. He warned them against solo and illegal assignment, which he said is suicidal, and anyone caught shall be brought to book. During the course of the address, CSP Akirile was also welcomed into office by the coordinator of the Lagos State Special Offences Mobile Court, Ariola Ogbara Banjoko, who showered the comments on the new chairman, stating that he is a distinguished and professional law enforcement officer any day, anytime. Benue State Police Command asked the slashed bandits and destroyed their camp in Sankara axis of Katsina, the local government area of the state. Men of Operation Sender, a joint police task force team, carried out the Operation Asiza village, Katsina, the local government area of the 13th of June 2024. The Command Public Relations Officer, SP Catherine Nenene, in a statement, said this came following intensified effort which began in the last 3 months as some suspects were arrested and 2 others neutralized during exchange of gunfire. The image maker says arms and ammunition were recovered, and many of the camps dislodged. Among the items are 2 pistols loaded with ammunition, 3 locally made shotguns, 13 motorcycles, camouflage uniforms, 6 walkie-talkies, 1 Toyota Corolla, 1 tricycle. According to the statement, the Commissioner of Police, CP Azan Steve Yabanet, commended the bravery exhibited by the officers and enjoined the people of Sankara to avail useful information to the police to nab those at large with gunshot injuries. There is urgent need to address the increasing rate of drug abuse within the sporting community and among athletes. This has been emphasized by the Ondo State Commandant of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Kayode Raji, who gave the Inter-Athletes Sensitization workshop organized by the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria for athletes, coaches and stakeholders from various sporting disciplines. Raji, along with other resource persons who spoke at the event, said the menace of drug abuse is gradually infiltrating the sports community, and the time has come to step in and sensitize athletes and stakeholders about its dangers. Earlier, Chairman of SWAN, Ondo State Chapter, Shegun Giwa, called for stronger government support and creation of a drug-free sport culture that values hard work, dedication, discipline and fair play. The speakers noted that drug sensitization should begin at home, with parents setting positive examples.
We have discovered that footballers, sportsmen and women generally, this evil is creeping into our sports. And there's no nation that will have drug as a prime factor in its sporting system. I will succeed. None.
Then let's do better to discover and nurture our athletes young. Let's discover them and nurture them young so that they don't go into all those pressure. Let's educate them from the get-go. It is very important. One of the rules of WADA, the code, is that you are responsible for what you ingest. There is no excuse in that area.
Let us work together to create a drug-free sports culture in Nigeria, a culture that values hard work, dedication and fair play, a culture that produces champions who inspire us with their talent, their character and integrity.
Labour Group has commended President Bola Tinubu for looking into the plight of the masses by initiating the reduction of PMS price in the country. Northern Consensus Movement says the removal of fuel subsidy has brought a lot of hardship, but reducing PMS price is a right step in the right direction. Addressing newsmen in Kaduna, Dr. Awel Abdullahi, the national president of the group, called on President Tinubu to ensure the implementation of the new price of PMS.
As a person, it is the system that leads to the rise of fuel. But meanwhile, the same military is working towards reducing the price of fuel. You will recall that not up to a week ago, there was an announcement of reduction in the pump price of fuel from 700 and something or 800 that is being sold in black market to about 557 naira per liter, most especially in the NNPC filling stations and in the major marketers filling station. And that is ongoing as I speak to you.
The group also commended the Group Managing Director of NNPCL for initiating good reforms within the ministry, while calling on those who want his sack as enemies of the country.
Addressing the challenges like crude oil theft and pipeline vandalization, NNPC has adopted advanced surveillance method similar to those used by Saudi Aramco, the Central Coordination Data Integration and Activation Control Room, enable real-time monitoring of the Niger Delta pipeline networks, enhancing security and increasing crude oil production. This system has already recovered over 22 million liters of stolen crude through improved surveillance and intelligence.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. We are glad to have you back. Now to other stories. A group of stakeholders in accountability in government has expressed concern over the process of direct labor by some permanent secretaries of ministries in Ekiti State, saying it contradicts global standards of transparency and accountability. The group said this in Ado-Ekiti during a stakeholder consultative meeting on open contracting partnership and accountability to seek commitment of government to champion accountability and gender inclusivity. This is hoped to be achieved through open contracting and e-procurement practices and advocate for necessary legislative and policy reforms. Speaking with journalists and experts on monitoring, evaluation and learning associates, Alfred Ago maintained that direct labor by heads of public institutions should be minimized by implementing the procurement threshold, which must be in line with the public procurement law of Ekiti State. Other recommendations made by the organization include enhancing citizen engagement and data utilization, renewal and optimization of e-procurement, enhancing gender-inclusive procurement, allocation of sufficient funds for e-procurement system, among others.
Okay, so we found out that a lot of challenges with the engagement we had with the officials from the Bureau of Public Procurement and then CSOs. Some of the challenges are limited public engagement and awareness about procurement processes. Also, there have not been any engagement when it comes to using the e-procurement platform. We found out that there's regulative gaps. We also found out that there are so much interferences from either heads of institutions or politicians.
A government that has signed up for an open process should be made to be committed to openness and ensuring that accountability is very critical, that they are accountable to citizens Any government in place are elected by the people and they must work for the people.
These are also challenge us, especially as the Bureau, to improve on the data that are being made public, so that information will be properly useful to those that want to access the data, and also the citizens will be able to use the data to engage the government and also hold them accountable. So.
The Federal Safety Corps Interagency Joint Task Force (JTF) has apprehended 362 trailers conveying 5,169 passengers on different highways across the country. The FRSC spokesman Olusegun Ogungbemide said this in a statement on Monday in Abuja. Reports has it that the inauguration of the Interagency Joint Task Force was held on March 23, 2024 in Kaduna State. Ogungbemide explained that the Joint Task Force comprised of the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, state traffic management agencies, and transport unions. According to him, the JTF took off its operation in Niger, Bauchi, Taraba, and Kaduna states and later extended to some notorious corridors of the southern part of the country. He explained that the Corps had risen to the challenge of confronting bad road use behavior on all fronts in the last couple of months. He said this had led to a high-level partnership between the FRSC leadership, various transport unions, security agencies, as well as state traffic management agencies. This, he said, was to give a holistic approach to enforcing compliance against the use of trailers as passenger vehicles. Now we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to Foreign News. Authorities in Russia's Siberian and Far East republics of Tiva and Sakha has declared state of emergency due to summer wildfires raging across the regions. Russia Emergency Situations Ministry said 75 people died and 2,200 were evacuated from more than 500 active wildfires across the country in the past week. Over 2/3 of these fires have been recorded in 18 regions in Russia Far East. More than 100 wildfires spanning more than 300,000 hectares are currently active in Sakha, which declared a regional state of emergency last month. Monday's Emergency Situation Ministry statement elevated the threats to a federal level, unlocking additional firefighting resources. In Tiva, regional leader Vladislav said 23 active wildfires spanning 1,700 hectares prompted his administration to declare state of emergency. Local firefighters have been recalled from neighboring regions. Kovalk said, adding that he has asked colleagues to send their crews to help the effort. Russia's wildfire season started in early March, with twice as many fires recorded by mid-April as over the same period in 2023, and human negligence thought to be the most likely cause. Officials say more than 2.3 million hectares of forest have burned in Russia since the start of 2024, the highest since 2020. Experts have warned that limited resources for fire prevention and control, along with ongoing practices such as dry grass burning, risk turning this year's wildfire season in Russia into a crisis. Kenya President William Ruto says the country will have to borrow more to keep the government running following the rejection of a hugely unpopular finance bill that was going to raise more money in taxes. The president said he would withdraw the bill containing controversial tax hikes last Wednesday after deadly protests which saw Parliament set on fire. But on Sunday, he said dropping the bill had set the country back 2 years, as he explained the difficulty of being unable to raise extra taxes while facing a huge debt burden. He said this meant Kenya would have to borrow 1 trillion shillings just to be able to run the government. This is a 67% increase on what had been planned, but he also said he was considering cutting spending across government, including in his own office, as well as reducing allocations to the judiciary and the county government. Many protesters objected to the tax rises by saying that the extra money would be wasted. The extra taxes were supposed to raise about 350 billion Kenyan shillings, while about 600 billion was going to be borrowed. According to the president, proposed tax measures were part of efforts to cut the debt of over $80 billion. About 60% of Kenya's collected revenues goes to servicing debt. Ruto said the rejection of the budget would affect the employment of 47,000 junior secondary school teachers who have been on temporary contracts, as well as healthcare provision. He said the government will be unable to support dairy, sugarcane and coffee farmers, including paying off debt owed by their factories and cooperative societies as they had planned. He, however, said he was considering the issues that had been raised by those who opposed the finance bill, such as cutting spending by his office and scrapping budget for the First Lady and the Deputy President's spouse. France's political parties sought to build a united front aimed at blocking the path to government of Marine Le Pen's far-right national rally on Monday, after it made historic gains to win the first round of a parliamentary election. The RN and its allies on Sunday's round with 33% of the vote, followed by a left-wing bloc with 28% and well ahead of President Emmanuel Macron's broad alliance of centrists, who scored just 22%, official results showed. When financial markets rallied on relief, the RN tally was not greater. It was still a huge setback for Macron, who had called the snap election after his ticket was trounced by the RN in the European Parliament. Tensions in French society. Whether the anti-migrant, Eurosceptic RN can form a government will depend on how successfully those parties manage to thwart Le Pen by rallying round the best-placed rival candidate in hundreds of constituencies across France. And still on the foreign news, North Korea has launched 2 ballistic missiles, the South Korean military said on Monday. As Pyongyang warned of countermeasures against a joint military drill, the missiles were launched from South Hwanghae province, about 600 kilometers, while the second flew about 120 kilometers. Yongan, state-controlled KCNA, spoke of a successful test for a new important technology. However, a spokesman for the South Korea Joint Chiefs of Staff told journalists that one of the test missiles had exploded in the early phase of the flight. Seoul was still analyzing the launch and did not immediately have confirmation whether there are any casualties or damage to North Korean property, the spokesman said. The launch comes less than a day after North Korea criticized a joint military exercise by South Korea, Japan and the United States held this month, calling the alliance the Asian version of NATO. North Korea would firmly defend the sovereignty, security and interests of the state and peace in the region through offensive and overwhelming countermeasures. A statement carried by Pyongyang state-controlled KCNA had said, under the rule of its supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, North Korea has developed nuclear-capable missiles in recent years despite international sanctions against Pyongyang over its nuclear weapons and missile program. Japan's Mount Fuji Park Rangers officially kicked off this year's climbing season in the early hours of Monday, the 1st of July, introducing new trail fees and limiting the number of tourists now arriving in record numbers to tackle overcrowding at the iconic and popular tourist destination. At 3 a.m., officials opened a new checkpoint halfway up the 3,776-meter peak after complaints last year about litter, pollution and dangerously crowded trails climbers. On the first day of the newly imposed rules, around 1,200 climbers gathered at the mountain. The depreciation of the yen to a 38-year low has made Japan an attractive destination for foreign tourists. The record number of tourists is boosting government revenues, but is straining the tourism and hospitality infrastructure and creating discontent among the local population. At a popular photography spot near Mount Fuji, crowds of tourists were posing a traffic hazard, forcing officials to erect a barrier to block the popular view. This year, the hiking season on Mount Fuji will continue until the 10th of September. Last year, visitors' numbers to Mount Fuji returned to pre-pandemic levels, reaching around 300,000 people a year, according to the Environment Ministry. For the fee paid, climbers received a wristband allowing them to access to the trail from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m., except for those who have booked huts closer to the peak who are not subject to the daily visitor restriction, authorities said. It was reported last month the new trail restriction were needed on Mount Fuji to prevent accident on the mountain and incident of altitude sickness, particularly among foreign bullet climbers who are competing to reach the top faster. And finally, on foreign news, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will on Monday say only his Conservatives can counter a Labour-led government and that a vote for Nigel Farage right-wing Reform UK will hamper any chance of his party forming a strong opposition. Appearing to hold but concede defeat before Thursday's election, Sunak will appeal to those voters on the particular right who are considering voting for Farage's party in protest at his Conservative government. The Conservative look set to be kicked out of office after 14 turbulent years marked by Britain's vote to leave the European Union in 2016 and the cost of living crisis that followed the COVID-19 pandemic, and around 20 points led with support for reform potentially splitting the centre-right vote and the centrist Liberal seats to oppose Labour, saying the party had previously said it would be good to get a handful of members of parliament elected. Farage is one of Britain's most recognizable and divisive politicians. He has spent decades railing against the establishment and the European Union and has in recent years campaigned for Donald Trump in the United States. He entered the election in early June, vowing to supplant the Conservatives as the main party of the right. Polls appear to show that Reform's support peaked in the second half of June, shortly before Farage said the West provoked Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Some of his candidates have been dropped for racist or inappropriate remarks. And that's all we have on the foreign news.
Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Riz Blossom Onwe. Here are the stories on the news desk today.
Actress Toyin Abraham has allegedly arrested an ex-user who wished death on her son a few weeks ago. The actress, who has received widespread online abuse for her support for President Tinubu, has proved her dedication to shielding herself and her family from toxic internet behavior. According to a source close to the ex-user, Yarlo was arrested by Lagos police 4 days ago for cyberbullying Toyin Abraham. The source rather asked for assistance on behalf of the arrested user, describing the circumstances around the arrest. Recall that the Twitter user and Toyin Abraham got into a heated argument before his detention, during which he made a startling remark about wanting her son to die. Static soon-to-be grandmother Omoni Oboli hinted about the gender of her grandchild hours after announcing the pregnancy online. The beautiful couple announced their first pregnancy with photos on the social media pages. The photos captured Nnamdi Oboli and his heavily pregnant foreign wife with joyous smiles. Omoni Oboli, who has high expectations of her grandchild, shared cute photos of her son and daughter-in-law on her Instagram page. Her timeline has been buzzing with congratulatory messages to the couple. The mother of 3 boys revealed that her grandchild will be a girl to excite her fans after the parent captioned the shared photos. Omoni Oboli disclosed how she had always dreamt of having a baby girl, how she talked about it, tried to adopt one, and was about to give up. She spoke about how God granted her heart's desires through her newfound daughter. talent manager Paulo Okoye is making it known that he loves to be insulted. The lover of actress Iyabo Ojo, via his Instagram page, revealed that he is just a loyal customer service with over 35 years experience. He stated that what he cares for is the people he serves, and as far as they are okay, it's good for him. He stated that for all the name callings people give to him, he is unbothered about it, as his second name is insult and he doesn't care. He made his haters and critics know that they would be the one to give up at the end. He reported on Wednesday last week, following the wedding of singer Davido, Very Dark Man, who was at the wedding, had claimed that Iyabo didn't receive an invite to Davido's main wedding but his after party, and had mocked her for not having levels. Paulo had defended his girlfriend, expressing pity over his condition as he believed someone swore for him, and Very Dark Man hit back, advising him to stay off his issue with Iyabo, and Paul hit back, telling Davido and others to choose between them. His daughter Vanessa had lashed out at Very Dark Man for disrespect, noting how people mistake their silence for ignorance. Meanwhile, they are focused on forging a legacy of integrity and excellence, and not in addressing petty remarks from those lacking vision. Yoruba Nollywood actor Ibrahim Bello, better known as Baba Lawuri, has cried out to Nigerians for help over a brutal attack from one of the aides of Lagos socialite, Koko Zaria. In a post in his Instagram page, he recounted how he was performing as a master of ceremony at an event in Idumude when a stranger approached him, claiming that Koko Zaria wanted to see him, unknowingly that it was a setup. When he got there, Koko Zaria questioned why he didn't acknowledge him, and Baba Lawuri had apologized, promising to make corrections when he got back on stage. As he turned back to return on stage, one of his associates smashed a bottle on his head, and he was covered in his own blood and lost consciousness. He revealed that when he woke up, he saw himself in the hospital, and now he is scared to go out and has been in serious pain. He called on Nigerians to help him fight for justice.
And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom Moye. Bye for now.
And that's all we have for you. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Iribami Salako. Goodbye.